Breaking news downtown, Jacksonville Fire Station 4 is shut down right now. The city is investigating a possible racial incident there. Plus, one lady is dead, several others injured after 20 vehicles crash and 2 pileups on a foggy I-295. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Angela Spears. Thanks for joining us today. We will start this afternoon with that breaking news. Right now, a Jacksonville fire station is shut down while the city investigates a possible racial incident that happened there. It's all going on at fire station number 4. That's on Duval Street. Let's go right to First Coast News. Mark Spain, he's live at the scene with the very latest. Mark, keep us posted on this story, and of course we'll have much more on this beginning at 5 o'clock and throughout the day on firstcoastnews.com. Now back to our other big story this afternoon. One lady is dead, several others hurt after 2 multiple vehicle pileups on I-295. Both of those crashes happened around 2 o'clock this morning on both sides of I-295 between Pritchard Road and US 1. Now the interstate was closed for about 6 hours today. First Coast News' Roger Reeder is live on I-295 where crews are still cleaning up the mess live there on the north side from 295. It is a nice afternoon here on the First Coast. Despite that accident this morning, we had a foggy start. It burned off, and look at it now. Live look from our Sky.net beach cam. 72 degrees out there. It's going to get even warmer today and even warmer this weekend. Steve Smith is here with us, and it's looking good. All right, and you can always get the very latest on the weather from First Coast News. You can log on to our website, firstcoastnews.com. You can call WeatherTel 356-8812 or watch Weather Plus. It's the only local weather channel here in our area on 24/7. New at noon, several buses and cars parked in a First Student bus parking lot were vandalized. Now take a look. This was the scene when bus drivers arrived at work early today. Busted headlights and windshields on nearly a dozen cars and trucks. Several buses were also vandalized. Look at that. Someone drove the buses through the fence and sprayed another bus with a fire extinguisher. Police are investigating. For the second time in more than a week, authorities are looking into a crash involving a JTA bus. This time it happened last night at nearly the same spot, the exact same spot as the crash last week. A car heading south on Lard turned east onto Bay and collided with the bus heading on East Bay. The bus hit the driver's side of the car, pushing it into a parked vehicle. The driver of that car was taken to the hospital with minor injuries, and a passenger on the bus was also taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Police are still looking into who had the right-of-way at the time of this crash. Thousands are feared dead after a massive mudslide buried an entire village in the central Philippines. And our top stories around the world, so far only 4 bodies have been recovered as rescue teams struggle to get to the remote area. The Red Cross estimates about 200 may be dead, but more than 1,500 others are still missing. Witnesses say days of heavy rain caused this mudslide that covered more than 500 homes and an entire school. The Filipino government may ask U.S. forces training in the region for assistance in the rescue operation. Violence erupted in the West Bank as Israeli troops clashed with young Palestinians. Villagers accused Jewish settlers of writing graffiti defaming the Prophet Muhammad. And in Hong Kong, thousands of Muslims marched through the streets to protest the cartoons. There were no reports of any violence or arrests. Characters were printed, you may remember, in a Danish newspaper back in September. President Bush is preparing to talk about the war on terrorism from Tampa. This morning he left D.C. for Fort McDill. In the next hour, he'll be giving a speech from Central Command headquarters. We will have the very latest on this beginning on First Coast News at 5 o'clock. Another news coming from America. Take a look at this. A gas station clerk in California fought back after a robber is holding a blowtorch. The security tape shows the robber walking up to the clerk, putting a bag on the counter, and then firing up the torch. Check that out. The clerk grabbed a bat and fought back, chasing the robber out of the store. The suspect jumped into a car and took off. Police are still looking for him this afternoon. You know him as the host of a daytime talk show, but Montel Williams has another passion, the Winter Olympics, especially snowboarding. We'll talk live with him from Italy coming up. And Michelle Kwan, as you know, won't be skating at the Olympics, but she does have a new job. Details on that still ahead. And next at noon, a chance for women to make sure they have a healthy heart. 20 vehicles involved in this accident. 1 woman is dead. 7 people are in the hospital. Right now, Jacksonville police are talking with the man involved in a situation that occurred in the apartment right here behind me. They're trying to figure out exactly what happened. I've been talking with some of the victim's friends. He tells me he was a college student here from Chicago. Now take a look here behind me. As I mentioned, the police tape is up. Just checked with the nursing supervisor at Shands Jacksonville, and she told me Daniel Dobson is in fair condition right now. As for the detective involved in this incident, authorities tell me right now they're still trying to figure out if Detective Meacham actually fired his weapon. So until that happens, they've not put him on administrative leave, which is standard procedure anytime an officer fires his or her weapon. Stay with First Coast News. We'll have much more on this story on First Coast News at noon. For now, reporting live from the north side, Angela Spears, First Coast News.
And Angela, again, the gun went off when they were struggling with each other, right?
Yes. Apparently there was some type of struggle, and according to police, that's when the weapon went off. Okay. Right, is it safe for me, do you think, to touch Slingshot a little bit here?
You can go ahead and touch him.
Okay, he won't buck or anything.
Not too safe.
Oh, goodness. Reporting live from downtown. Angela Spears, First Coast News. And police believe it's a very credible tip. They have been out here at this landfill searching for several hours now over and around the hill right there. They've brought in more equipment. They are determined to find 10-month-old Jaquan Mosley's body. Another day on the hill of this landfill near Valdosta. Jacksonville sheriff's officers, as well as deputies and volunteer firefighters from Lowndes County, are digging through the trash.
So there's a lot of drive to find this baby. I mean, there's a lot of drive there.
Detectives believe 10-month-old Jaquan Mosley's body is there in the garbage.
And there's other items of evidence we hope to find there too that Jacksonville is, we're aware to look for. And so, like I say, we're dumping trash out and raking it down into little tiny piles. I mean, so we're looking for the most minute thing. And we're looking at day 2, and we could be looking at day 5 or day 6. But we're not going to leave here till we go through every inch of where that child could be.
It's going to be a long, hard search, but we're going to be here as long as it takes to cover the area that we want, that we know we have to cover.
Well, since this is the second day of the search in this landfill, police say they're in a pattern now. They believe that they will be able to cover more of the area today. Now, remember, some of the spots they're digging trash that they're digging into is 6 to 8 feet deep. Already, they've gone through about 10% of the area here. The morning delivery. Maria Fritz and Mary Kay Howell do it every day. The headline this morning:
very devastating.
Still so unbelievable.
Horrifying.
In Lake Butler, everybody knows each other. 7 lives, 7 young lives lost all at once.
And I still think it's a bad dream and that maybe we ought to wake up.
For many in the small community, it's hard to take.
You look at the headline and you think, Lake Butler, because our town, hardly nothing ever happens in our little town. We don't expect for it to happen. It's just young children that hasn't even lived their full lives yet. It's just, it breaks my heart. It's sad.
In the darkest hour, Carl Washington is hard at work, in the truck and on foot. He's laying the groundwork. Now he's making the call. Carl is a pet detective. His job has him working all hours of the day. This mission, to find Beans.
He's been the Rin Tin Tin of the family.
It's sort of like a chess game. It's a challenge. It's my goal is to outsmart this dog, and this dog's goal is to, keep running.
I just want that dog back. We take long walks in the park. He's part of my everyday routine.
Jamie Greer's nerves are on edge.
Beans!
She and her dad have spent countless hours hunting for Beans.
5.5 days. 2 nights. I can't tell you the hours or the number of trips up to the airport, but it's a bunch.
They needed some reinforcement. That's where the pet detective came in.
He's going to make a mistake, and we're going to get him.
Carl has a little help, too.
Come on, Rocky. Don't you go. Hey.
Rocky, a Jack Russell, and Coco the Poodle at lead are on the job.
Go find him. It's right up there with a bloodhound, but it's a smarter dog than a bloodhound. Where you go, Coco? I can take this poodle and throw it over a fence and have it check out a whole yard maybe about 50 yards around. I can wait there and it comes back to me.
He was walking that way.
Finally, some hope, a possible lead. Does the hunt really begin now?
Oh, it's really ready to start now. Heat up a little bit now.
Off to the woods. A little more sniffing, a little more digging.
Smell, let's go.
Angela Spears,
Go find him.
First Coast News.